Hey beautiful souls, and thank you so much for joining me in another video. In this video we're going to discuss meditation. As meditation, I think, is such a great tool that everyone should utilize, because if you're not, you're really truly missing out. It offers so many different benefits, and I'm going to discuss the benefits in this video a little bit later on, right? But you're definitely missing out. If you're not doing meditation, then you're missing out on emotional, mental, and physical benefits, as well as spiritual benefits, right? As in fulfilling your full potential as a human being, right? And getting more in touch with yourself and with the universe, with the higher state of being. So we're going to talk about this in this video, okay? The funny thing is that you could already be meditating, or you could have been meditating, but you just simply you're not aware of it, okay? So even if this is like, this idea, right, is new to you, which it probably isn't, because meditation has kind of like entered the mainstream a while ago, and so most people are already, they're doing it, right, or they've heard of this concept, right? Yeah, my meditation journey has started a long time ago, and actually started because while I became, or as soon as I became a long distance runner, okay? So I started long distance running in middle school, and then I continued throughout high school and even after my university, right? So and little did I realize that I was actually meditating, not formally meditating, right? But I was meditating throughout this entire time. So sometimes meditation, sometimes you are, and a lot of times you are in the state of in a meditative state, right, without actually realizing it. Okay, so that's actually what happened to me, right? So meditation doesn't have to be formal. You don't have to actually be like sitting down, right, in a yoga lotus pose and meditating, although you definitely should, right? But meditation does not have to be formal. We can actually get into a state of meditation, or in a meditative state, while, for example, lifting weights, right? While practicing sports, especially like running, right? Long distance running, as in my case. We can also be in we can reach our meditative state while doing laundry, for example, or while taking a walk, right, in nature, or even while driving, right? Meditative states can happen pretty much during any time, right? It can happen at work, right, while you're in a state of flow, when you're completely focused on a task, right? Whereas you also tune everything out, right, and you just focus on this one thing, right? Music can actually raise your frequency, raise your energy, right? If you're familiar with this concept, it can raise your frequency much faster, right? So music helps you get into that meditative state much faster. And there's a lot of research that's done around this topic, okay? So did you know that two people could be living on the same plane, right? While sharing the same space, but they can be living in basically two different worlds, right? And I'm not talking about physical worlds, right? I'm talking about worlds of frequency and energy, right? Or states of consciousness, right? So two people can be occupying the same space, but they can be in completely different states of consciousness, or states of being, right? So that actually that can happen, right? And so one, right, is living in, is completely, one person is completely immersed in their ego, right? They're living in fear. They're living in their lowest state of consciousness. They're not as aware, right? Because they don't meditate. they're completely immersed in the 3D, three-dimensional world, right? Where we disregard our spiritual, anything that's felt, anything that you cannot physically touch, right? Or anything that cannot be like proven, right? Then uh, you disregard that, right? Completely. And that happens to unfortunately, that state of being is a normal part of life for most people. So the other person that's sharing the same plane with the person that's living in 3D, right, is a person that's operating on a completely different conscious level, okay? They're in a completely, physically, they're not in a completely different world, but spiritually, energetically, consciously, they are, right? They're living in 4 or 5D, right? Five dimensional world, which means that their consciousness is increased, their self-awareness is increased. It's much greater than in comparison to the person that's living in 3D, right? So the person that is in 5D, they're most likely coming from a state of love, right? They're living from their heart space. From their hearts, they do things not out of ego, right? But they're driven by love, right? They don't do anything that doesn't align with their higher self, right? So, which means that they're led by spirit, their spirit, right? Or you can even call it the Christ consciousness, right? Some say that the idea of heaven and hell, right? Some say in the Bible, right, those are like physical places that we will all go when we die, right? But that is actually not true, okay? That's a complete lie that was sold to a lot of people who bought it, right? But it's a complete lie. You can actually be living in hell or in heaven here on earth and here right now while you're still alive, right? Although I would argue that you are pretty much very, very much, um, uh, you are not living, right? If you're living in the 3D, in the ego state, in the fear-based mindset, right? So that's not truly living because you are highly limited while you're operating from your lowest self. You don't really experience connection, right? True connection. You always feel lonely, right? Because you're disconnected from that higher state of being. And also, you always think that someone is out to get you, right? You're afraid of trying new things, going after what you want, what you like, right? You're afraid of living, right? So you're not living your life. You're afraid that the world is too harsh, and you feel like that you're all alone, right? And you just you so you always do things out of fear, right? Whether it's getting a job, right? Or getting into a relationship, right? Maybe you fear being alone, right? Maybe you fear that you're unable to support yourself, right? So you rely on other people. You become codependent with other people out of fear, right? And so once again, that comes down to our egos and living in that 3D dimension or your lowest state of consciousness, right? Anyway, so I'm going to go back to living in 5D, right? That's the opposite, and meditation can definitely help you get there, okay? I believe meditation, especially formal meditation while you're just sitting down, right? That can be a little bit more effective. But like I said, it's not really necessary, right? So meditation can help you get to that higher state of being, right? It can increase your self-awareness. So now that we've talked about that, you guys, let's discuss some of the benefits that meditation offers. And there's so many, right? Like I said, there are physical, mental, and spiritual benefits, right? So you should, if you're not already meditating, then you should definitely take advantage. It doesn't have to be long. You can just sit there for 10 minutes, so dedicate like 10 minutes a day, right, to meditation. What's 10 minutes a day for you? Probably nothing, right? You probably spend a lot more time on social media, right? Give it a try, right? Even if it is hard to focus in the beginning, just continue doing it, okay? And stick to it for at least 30 days, okay? So I think anything that you do, like after, sorry about the flies again, anything that you do right after like 10 days or so, I think it's 10. I don't really remember that. But anyways, I think after 10 days, right, it becomes like a habit, right? So stick to it for 10 days, for at least 10 days, and see how it goes, right? It's not that easy, and especially for people nowadays, right? Because everyone is so distracted. Social media was made to be this way, right? It was made to be addicting, and some of, Facebook's executives, they talked about that, right? There was a documentary made about that, talking about the dangers of social media and how addicting it is, and why it's made to be addicting. Of course, it all has to do with money, right? But so yeah, anyways, I'm not gonna go there, but I just wanted to say that because of social media and because of the way that our brains now kind of learn to operate, right? We're not as focused as we used to be, right? So most people don't even read books anymore. They can't even read one long book, right? And so meditation is going to change that for you, okay? It's going to definitely improve your focus, all right? So you'll be able to accomplish your goals, right, in the long run. Focus is everything as far as going after the things that you want, right? So then what are some other benefits, right? So improved quality of sleep, okay? Some other benefits of meditation, okay, is lower resting blood pressure, okay? Another is lower resting heart rate, okay? Another one is improved patience and tolerance, okay? And also improved ability to control your reactions, right? To certain things, right? So, for example, if someone tries to provoke you, right, then if you've meditated during that day, you'll be able to think before reacting, right? So you'll be able to tell yourself like, hey, wait a minute, stop, think about the situation, right? And perhaps you'll decide not to react, right? So which in turn can potentially potentially prevent a negative situation from escalating, right? So that's definitely a great benefit. Anyway, so then of course there's the connection to your higher self, right? And increased energy levels, right? You won't feel like you really need friends or anyone, right? You'll just you won't basically be dependent on the outside world or external things for your connection, okay? So I think that's a great benefit, right? Anyway, so at some point, I remember I was in San Francisco, and I was all alone, during Christmas. It was the holiday season, right? And I remember I was meditating like a lot at that time, right? And I just remember like driving, right? And I just felt so good, right? And during Christmas, like you can feel, if you're a very like empathic person, right? If you're a sensitive person, you can feel this energy in the air, right? And and especially, and it's so good during Christmas, that's why I love the Christmas season so much, is because I feel this like happiness and joy, right? Of course, it's not always like this for everyone, but a lot of people do experience a lot of also happiness and joy during that time, right? And spending time with their families, and like opening gifts and so on, right? Anyway, so as I was driving, right, I just remember feeling that energy, right? And just I remember just like I was all alone, right? But I felt so connected to everyone, right? To that energy, and that I just didn't feel alone at all. I just felt really really happy, as if I had like all these people that I was spending my time with, basically, so yeah, meditation can definitely help you get to that state too, where you're feeling really connected. Meditation also is great to manage conditions, right, such as cancer, anxiety, asthma, depression, heart disease, and sleep problems, right? So that's also great, right? Then also, you'll increase your self awareness, right? And our self awareness, increasing that is just so, so important, right? Increased self awareness can help you. Become more aware of how you're coming across to other people, right? What's your body language like, right? One of the ways that we communicate, right? And it's like, I believe we communicate like 80% of our communication, right, happens through body language, right? So you'll be a lot more aware of your body language, right? And other people's body language too, right? So you'll be able to kind of read them more accurately, right? And you'll be able to kind of change your body language if you're coming across as maybe closed off, right? Maybe. And so this in turn can like help you build stronger connections with other people, right? So let's just say, for example, maybe um, you're being a little bit too pushy, right? Or maybe you seem a little bit too like dominant, right? So the other person that you're talking to is taking the back, right? Maybe they don't feel comfortable with you, right? So they kind of like close themselves off. Maybe they'll cross their arms or something like that, right? Maybe they'll start turning into another direction, right? Pointing their feet towards the exit door or something like that, right? So that's an indication that you don't make that person feel comfortable, right? So and something is going on, right? So by being self-aware, you'll able to change that, right? You'll be able to kind of maybe like tell yourself, hey, wait a minute, this person seems a little bit tense, right? Maybe it's something that I'm doing, right? So you can change it, right? So you can do something, you can try doing something different, right? Maybe you'll open your own body language up, right? Like uncross your arms, right? Maybe you'll speak more softly, right? And anyway, so this will kind of change the reaction of another person, or it will help, right? So they're most likely they'll probably mimic you, right? And they'll relax, and you guys will be able to continue a decent conversation without any tension, right? So this can help you connect to other people in a completely different way, okay? Meditation can also help you control stress or manage stress and focus on the present moment. And as you know, life happens in the present moment, right? It doesn't happen yesterday, it doesn't happen tomorrow, right? But a lot of us are living in the present, right? I mean, in the future, right, or in the past, right? So meditation kind of can happen, can help you experience this life to its fullest, right? Whereas you don't really have any worries because, um, you know, you're fine now, right? You're fine in this moment, right? And that's one thing, right? Another is stress levels, right? As you know, stress is a silent killer, right? So, it ages you, right? Supposedly, I don't know if you guys know about telomeres, right? But telomeres are like the markers that predetermine our whether we will age quickly or we will age slower, right? So the longer your telomeres, the slower you'll age, right? The shorter they are, right, the faster you'll age. So anyway, so supposedly stress shortens your telomeres, okay, which in turn ages you quicker. Anyways, so now back to being in the present moment again, right? If you are in the present moment, right, and especially if you have kids, right, then you will be able to connect with them better, okay? Because they will feel your full presence, right? You're not thinking about the laundry or what you have to do, right, or the things that you need to cook, right, or or whatever, right? You're present, right? You're fully present. You're in the moment with your kids, and kids kind of until a certain age, they naturally live in the present moment, right? And last but not least, right, is that through meditation, your imagination increases, okay? And also you're able to gain access to information that you never had access to before, right, while you were in your lowest state. Okay, so by through meditation, you're able to connect to the higher self, right, or where all the information is stored, right? Information of yesterday, tomorrow, and today, right? I think some call it the Akashic records, okay? And so through meditation, you're able to connect to your higher self, and in turn, intuitively start getting access to all kinds of different information that's original, that a lot of people might not even have heard of before. Living in fear, right, kind of disconnects you from your intuition. Um, you basically lose access to your spirit. You lose access to your higher self, right? You lose access to information, to original information. That's why a lot of people, for example, that are living in 3D, they can't really they're not too self-aware, right? And they don't ask too many questions. They just kind of copy what other people are saying, right? They don't have like original thoughts. They can't come up with something like that because they're living in fear, right? And fear cuts you off from a higher way of living, of higher way of existing. Okay, so so yes, that's another thing that that happens, is that through meditation you get access to original ideas, original thoughts, and they will come to you in different forms, right? In through your thoughts, right? Through intuition. Anyways, and now that I've talked about meditation and its various benefits, right, I just wanna, of course, I don't think I'm gonna go into it here too much, but there are a lot of different ways that you can meditate, and you can just look that up, right? You can Google it. I'm gonna kind of go over it very quickly, right? I'm not gonna mention like every form of meditation here, right? But there are many different ways to meditate, right? There's like visualization, right? And you can meditate with other people if you like to, right? Or you can listen to kind of some kind of like an application. You can use an application for it too, where it's like guided meditation, right? They'll take you through different like scenarios, right? Where you'll be using your senses, your different senses, right? So maybe you'll imagine touching something, right, feeling something, and being in a specific location, right? So that's like visual and guided meditation. You can do it either alone, right, on your own, or you can do it with someone else, right? I don't really like those too much. I don't know why. They don't resonate with me, right? If they do resonate with you, then do it. It's what you feel very comfortable with, right? If you feel comfortable with something, if you like it, if you're drawn to it, then go ahead and do it, right? Then another a meditative practice, right, or another form of meditation is mindfulness, right? So that's basically where you just kind of you sit down, right, or you can even run, right? Like I said, if you're a runner, you can do this kind of meditation while running too, right? Or while driving, actually, okay. So this form of meditation is you just kind of you sit down, right? You don't control your thoughts. You don't try to control your thoughts. During this meditation, you just let go, okay, and you become the observer, right? So you kind of observe your thoughts as they come in, right? And when they do come in, you kind of just you observe them without getting attached to them, right? Without any form of judgment, okay? So yeah, and that's pretty much it. I, over time you'll notice that when you do let go of that control, right, of trying not to have any thoughts, if you try not to have any thoughts, you'll probably have more of them, okay? So try not to think about not having any thoughts. Okay, just let go. If you do have thoughts, which you probably will, just don't just observe them, okay, and don't attach, don't judge, right? That's pretty much it, right? That's mindfulness meditation. I really personally like that one a lot. It doesn't have to be done for too long. Do it for 10 minutes and maybe 5 minutes initially, I know it's really, really hard for some people to start meditation, right? Because they can't focus or calm their minds for the life of them, right? But just give it a try for 5 minutes, okay? Set a timer if you have to. And then, progress to like a longer time, right? Because as you practice a certain skill, right, the more that you practice it, the better you get at it, right, and the longer you can do it. It's kind of like running, right? You start out running like really slowly, and you can probably run for like a minute at a time. Then as you practice more, you can go for longer. Anyway, so and there are a lot of other forms of meditation, right, that you can look it up for yourself, try to see and find what you are drawn to, what you think you will like, right? And so yeah, I recommend mindfulness meditation. I think it's very effective, yeah, but you can also do other forms too, right? So it really depends on you. And like I said before, it doesn't have to be sitting down, although it does help doing at least 5 to 10 minutes a day, just in a sitting down formal kind of meditation, right? So anyway, so I hope you guys really enjoyed this video. Give it a thumbs up if you did, okay? Subscribe if you like. And yeah, I hope to see you here again.